Alright. Guna fam, what's good? Guna fam, what's good? It's your boy, Match Day Uno. It's not match day, the season is off for now, but we're here with Nqobile, one of our residents. We're like doing a season recap, and Nqobile, how you doing, man?
Hey man, I'm good and you? Everything good?
Uh, I'm great, thanks. Are you still basking in the glory of the FA Cup?
Yeah, I was obviously until this afternoon. Obviously, when the news of Raul Senil, our head of football, calling
Uh,
it a day quite abruptly, under
yeah,
a massive cloud of controversy or
yeah,
perceived massive cloud of controversy. Because if you
yeah.
read the statements, it seems like he left on good terms. But hey, we don't know. But anyway, but I'm good. Besides that, yeah, I'm still enjoying,
Maybe.
still making fun of Man United and Chelsea fans because they haven't won anything yet. Obviously, Man United have a chance of winning Europa.
Made by Arsene Wenger. I think it was in the last FA Cup. The last FA Cup he won in, I think it was maybe his last season. I'm not sure, but that Community Shield, they interviewed him and they asked him how he feels about winning the Community Shield, and he's like, "No, I'm ecstatic. It's a trophy. Some people don't say some people don't count it as a
Mm,
trophy, but they only don't count it
but
as a trophy when Arsenal win it, But at the end of the day, I mean,
no, because
Tottenham
yeah,
doesn't have one,
yeah,
so
exactly, yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, for the record books, it is a trophy. At the end of the
yeah,
day,
it
the record
is.
books, it
It
does.
is. It is. I'm sure
It
there's
it
prize
shows
money
that.
there
So
as well, isn't there?
exactly. It's not winning the Audi Cup
Yeah,
or anything like you know
yeah. But yo, we're
or the
getting
Emirates Cup or something. Yeah.
we're getting a
Yeah.
bit too carried away, thinking too much about the next season. Let's recap. Let's rewind. Let's take it back to day one of the 2019-2020 season before we even heard of COVID. You know what I'm saying? That's how long ago
Yeah.
this season started. You know, were you happy with the way our season started? Like that first match
If
against
if I,
Newcastle going forward.
if
Where
if
did you
yeah.
anticipate we would finish after, like, as we're going into the new
Look,
season?
look, I think when I went into that game, it was one of those where initially you were like, we've ground out a result. We didn't play particularly well, if I recall correctly. We were actually quite poor in
Yeah,
that match. But we're like, it was Newcastle away. We've ground out a result. In all days gone by, Arsenal would have probably lost. That game. That's the mentality I had, and I was like, yeah. And it's the first game of the season, so I think with time we're gonna gel. We're gonna start playing free flowing football. Get back to our best. Because I remember it was very patchy. We were disjointed in that match and yeah, we managed Upamecano managed to pull us out, and we got a goal. I think it was off a Newcastle. Was a
yeah,
semi mistake, I think, from the
yeah,
keeper,
yeah.
um, and we got the winner, and yeah, and we moved on. But at the time, obviously, the signs were there of what to come, but I think a lot of us weren't
What signs?
necessarily
Signs of
so.
what?
Sounds like that we were going to play poorly. Like the football
Oh,
was going to be quite but because it was so early in the season, the lack of structure we had and the clear pattern of play, we chalked it off to it's still too early. Got a few new players, maybe still trying to bed in. Guys are still coming. Obviously, it's still new. It's still relatively fresh, early days of the season, so guys might still be getting into the rhythm of things. Um, so yeah, a lot of us chalked it off to
so
that.
I mean,
But obviously with the benefit of hindsight, that pattern kind of continued
mm,
for the next 3 months,
yeah,
actually. And
and that's where I
and
was
I think
going.
a lot of it was due. Yeah, and I think a lot of it for me was due. I think we were still suffering from quite a bit of a hangover from that heavy defeat we suffered in Baku. And for me, it
Against
seems like
Chelsea.
we never really recovered. Yeah,
Yeah,
we never really recovered
me,
from
yeah,
from that.
me personally, I never recovered from that. That was
Yeah.
devastating. But, like, okay, taking it from that first match, did you ever anticipate that we would Unai Emery was going to lose his job?
Nah, not a chance. I thought that
Did you
maybe
have
at
faith in it?
worst, No, well, I didn't read. I was a bit skeptical. I won't lie. Like when we first got him, I thought because he came there, he was a new broom, sweeping clean. I was like, we've got a decent manager here. He's been at PSG, he's won stuff at Seville. He
Mm,
might just be the breath of fresh air
yeah.
that we need. Obviously, I had concerns. I had concerns about the fact his lack of command of the English language and
Mm,
whether it would have an impact on his
mm,
ability to communicate to players. But then again, I was like, you know what? You've seen guys like Mauricio Pochettino come in, who also struggled with English initially, had an interpreter, sorry, and then he went on overcome those, and for me, became a very, very good coach.
yeah.
Obviously, up until sadly enough, Unai
The
Emery's
champions.
demise as well. So yeah, up until
Mm.
the Champions League, yeah, pretty much they pretty much suffered the same curse, their curses at pretty much the same time.
Okay. So okay.
So
Let's.
yeah, I thought so like even when he was struggling, I honestly thought maybe he would see the season out,
Yeah.
and then maybe we might
Yeah.
think of
Yeah.
replacing him. But in all honesty, yes, the signs were there. Like towards the end of this, I was unhappy going into this because I think we had bottled it.
Mm,
We should have gotten top four this season before, which we didn't. So
mm,
obviously, I was like, look, we bottled it. He's still learning. It's his first season, so he will learn from those mistakes and
mm.
not make them again. The mistakes being obviously some of his questionable selections
Yeah.
that he made in the last 5 games of the previous season. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, look, we'll overcome this. We'll regroup and yeah, we'll take it as a learning curve. Yeah, you'll take the lessons he's learned and we'll able to take the step forward from
Mm.
that.
Okay.
And
So
that didn't happen.
yeah, no, it went the opposite direction. So I wanted to ask you, like, what point would you say, like, for Arsenal was like a low point during this season? Where you're like asking yourself, man. I mean, what kind of a team is this? Why do I even, maybe not to that extent, but like, when did you ever, rather, I don't want to put into your word, into your mouth, rather,
Yeah,
but did you ever feel like, okay, these guys have lost the plot now? This is an all-time low.
yeah. For me, I think probably the first massive loss. I think that first Brighton loss at home
Mm,
that was shattering. Like that
yeah,
game we lost 2-1,
yeah,
if I recall correctly. I think for me that was an ultimate low because you could see. For me, that's when I saw that clubs actually don't respect us anymore. You could see the Brighton players walking off, laughing, you know, having
mm,
a good time,
mm,
at the Emirates. And for
mm,
me, that's when
mm.
I was like, you know what, guys, we
And
know we nowhere near where we should be
what
as a club
what
um,
about
at,
that
at the
moment?
moment. So
Uh, that moment. I mean, for me, this was one standout, and that's why I thought maybe you might have brought it up, but I'm gonna bring it up. Xhaka telling
what?
all of us all over the
Aston Villa.
world to f off.
Ah, you know what? I don't think that was because the thing is that I didn't. That was a player playing. That was the lowest point for a player at
Mm,
Arsenal,
mm,
not
mm,
necessarily for the team.
for the team.
Because
But I mean, that's the
because I don't.
captain.
But if you think about that match, the team actually didn't play that badly, and we got robbed at the end of the day. We should have won that game, and it
Mm,
was down to VAR
mm,
because Callum Chambers, I think, scored a winner, and it was ruled off for a foul, if I
mm,
recall correctly for the game. So
mm.
I, for me, the team didn't play well, didn't play poorly in that match because we should have won and we got a result taken away, a legitimate result from us taken away.
Mm,
Yes, one player had a fallout with the fan, and at that time in that game I had written Xhaka off. So for
okay.
me, yes, for him that was
Mm,
his lowest point. But I
mm.
don't think that was the lowest
But
point
but
for the club,
don't you?
for the club collectively as for the
But when you
season.
think about, like, maybe the behind the scenes type of thing, like, there was already like a rumor anyway of disagreements in the change room,
Yeah,
and for me, when I
yeah,
saw when I saw Xhaka having that moment, it looked like, yes, it's him, because he's the one that the attention is on because of that moment. But that was just an outburst, an expression of everything that had been happening behind the scenes.
Yeah,
You know that
exactly.
that's how I
No,
understood that.
yeah, but I think that at that time he was going through a lot of personal issues. I think at
Yeah,
the time,
yeah,
at home, and besides what was happening on pitch at home,
yeah.
uh, and then obviously, as you're saying, the fans were not happy with how he was playing, particularly at
Mm,
that point in time. So,
mm,
and he was poor during that period. Let's not make it seem as if he was playing well either. I think a lot of the anger and frustration the fans had towards him, I think was justified. Should
mm,
they have reacted in that way and be booing their own players? That's another match altogether. Maybe yes,
mm,
we as fans shouldn't be resorting to that, because at the end of the day we are there to support our players and cheer our players
yeah,
on, and
yeah.
we should be understanding that none of the players are there to deliberately, make us lose.
Cause
A lot of
frustration.
the
Yeah.
players
Mm,
I feel generally have the club's best interests out, because not necessarily the club, but they want to play well, and by extension, by them wanting to play well, they want the club, to
prosper.
also
Mm,
play well, to
mm,
prosper. So
mm,
yeah, so for me, I think with that, I think uh, we were right to be angry, but not to show it in that way. But I think
mm.
over and above that, he shouldn't have reacted in that manner. I think he was even more in the wrong, because as a professional, he's taught how to conduct himself.
Yeah.
Look,
That.
it's easy for me to say this now,
Mm,
but I'm saying that I would have expected a lot more from him at being a role model, having been in the spotlight for such a long time, being a public figure, being club captain. I would
mm,
have expected him to be able to almost overcome some of his raw emotions and be able to
mm.
act rationally
As a
and
leader.
and and yeah, and sustainably as a leader of
Yeah.
the club.
Yeah. So now, fast forward the clock a bit. Um, Now we're looking at Xhaka. Now at that point, now we're looking at him at this point at the end of the season. Do you think that maybe his season is somehow metaphoric for our season? In the sense that we had to hit a certain point of a low point, and then
Yeah,
the resurgence could begin. So
yeah.
we lose Emery, and we get Freddie. Freddie, a lot of people don't like to talk about the game that he managed because it was few, and
He was poor though, to be quite
the
honest.
results are not
Yeah.
impressive. And then we have Arteta, and I don't know. What do you say about the impact of Arteta? Maybe in the first 5 games that you watched him uh, take over at the team.
So I mean, first 5 games I think for him were quite difficult, because you remember that the club was at an all-time low at that point in
Mm,
time.
mm,
So in terms of the style of play or anything like that, it wasn't a lot different from that. But I think what you could see more from him was just, I think, his communication, the way the players were starting to kind of respond to him. So for me, that was what impressed me the most about him, was just his ability to convey instructions, his animation on the bench, the way he was consulting with his assistants as well, and the decisions he was making, the substitutions he was making, stuff like that. I think was that, yeah, for me that was the key. Obviously, like as I was saying, the style of play at
mm,
that time wasn't necessarily what we. There wasn't that big a difference in terms of the how we were playing and the style of play that we were playing. Obviously, you'd get that new manager. I thought a lot of it was also new manager bounce, where obviously because he was a new manager, it's a new broom. He was, and the players would react to a lot of the things he was saying,
mm,
and we would get almost that kick up the backside that we need, and the players would probably go over and above what they would normally do to try and
mm,
impress the new manager.
mm,
But I mean, even during those times, we still didn't have our results weren't the greatest. They were still
mm,
quite patchy
mm,
if
mm.
you actually think about it. And what comes to mind for me, I think, was that Chelsea loss.
Mm.
where we lost 2-1 with that last minute winner that Tammy Abraham, I think, scored it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and yeah, and for I think like with that, even though we played well, I think we kind of ran out of legs. So you were starting
yeah.
to question some things like, is the style of do we have the players suitable for the style of play that
Mm,
this coach wants to play?
mm.
So there were a bit of obviously yes, the Man United result I think was quite that one was quite impressive.
Yeah, that
The
was,
2-0, I think we beat them 2-0.
Mm.
But yes, but
I
I mean,
enjoyed
you
it.
contrast. I think those results, I think, were a week apart, if I'm not mistaken. So you still kind of had that inconsistency.
Mm.
But yeah, it was. But I think it was a decent start. It wasn't. You didn't set the world alight.
Yeah.
I think, but it was. It looked better than what obviously we had become accustomed to.
What were you
But yeah, it
expecting
was.
of him? Were you expecting like
I wasn't expecting a lot, to be quite honest,
certainly
because
not a trophy, huh?
I no, not at all. For me, I think that look, I think still in terms of league position, I think he didn't achieve what he could have or should have. I think probably a top six finish probably was the target he was set when he came in, which he didn't achieve, and he had the chance to achieve it, but he
Mm.
didn't.
Mm.
Um, and then I think for me, it was just more about just getting towards the end of the season get to the end of the season, achieve Europa, and then let's reassess from there. And it was basically like a damage limitation um, task that he had
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
of just
yeah.
trying to make sure you minimize the damage,
Damage
make sure that you
control.
bring unity back,
Mm.
make sure you bring unity back into the squad, make sure that you get your key players buying into the club. Try to make sure that they've got something to believe in, that they can stay on, sign on, and then yeah, we'll reassess at the end and reassess at the end of the season. I think
Okay.
would have probably
So are you overall impressed with how Arteta's tenure thus far has worked out?
yeah. So I'd say that now I think probably since
If you were to rate him out
I
of
think
10,
since out of 10, take cup aside. So maybe let's take away the FA Cup results. I'd probably say, yeah, I'd probably take away the FA Cup results. I'll probably give him a 6.5, 7 out
but
of 10.
why? Why are you
Uh,
taking away the FA Cup results? It
No, but
matters.
that's why I'm gonna get there to that. But I'm saying that
Okay.
with the FA Cup, with the
Uh,
FA Cup results, I'd probably then bump him up to about an 8. I
okay.
think I'll give him probably a solid 8 out of 10.
So
But I'm saying that I'll purely because, but I think that format kind of suited him, and the cup games kind of suited him because clubs had to come onto us.
mm,
The smaller clubs couldn't
mm,
and play for a draw, look to hit us on the counter. They had to go out to the cup game, so the game's a lot more open,
yeah.
and therefore so not defensive, but our creative inefficiencies weren't as laid out there by
Mm,
FC as they normally would be, because
mm,
there was a lot more space and there was a lot more room for us to operate, and a lot more space for Kaza Kupame and to,
mm.
to, 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 to play. And so yeah, that was kind of nullified. Yeah, that
Okay.
key concern that we had. Whereas obviously in the league, I think we still kind of struggled because teams were some of the small, especially against the lower level sides. I think that's where our biggest problem is, and that's not necessarily Arteta. I think it's just purely because we don't have the creativity within the squad.
Mm,
But
mm,
we've struggled a lot more against those sides that have come there, parked the bus, to pick us up off the break, versus some of the bigger sides who are going out there looking for a result against us, where he's been able to set up defensively, make and counter our inability for our creativity to. He's been able to basically sit back, make sure we're sturdy at the back, and play on the break. And he's comfortable to do that because obviously he knows that the other teams are much better quality-wise, and they'll be looking to attack us. So therefore, he's able to set up that. So I think in the big games, I've been really impressed with his ability to analyze and pick the weaknesses of the sides.
make the right
Obviously, in the smaller
decisions.
games, I think make the right decision. Obviously, with the smaller teams where you're expected to have more of the ball and more creativity and be more of the protagonist, he struggled, and that's not purely because of his planning, but I think purely because of the personnel he has
Okay.
at his
At his
disposal.
disposal, yeah.
And I think he can't implement some of the things that he wants to do in those games just purely because he doesn't have the personnel at his disposal to play a more expensive game.
Okay. Yeah, no, man. So what you think for a head coach making his debut at such a big club or making his debut as a head coach at a big
Mm.
club like Arsenal, you think he's done exceptionally well by that
Yeah, I
eight?
think he's done good.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think that.
I agree. I can't contest. I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud, man,
Well,
especially
yeah.
because I liked him as a player as well when he was playing for us.
Mm,
So
yeah.
and I think somehow that affects the mentality of the team. The mere fact that he used to be an
Yeah.
Arsenal player himself. And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so I have
Yeah.
like a quick fire set of questions that I want to go through with you real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing I just want to say is
Okay.
that obviously, and the reason why I said that is that what I said is that as much as we did beat your Liverpools, your Man Cities, your Chelseas,
Yeah,
we still lost to
United.
your Brightons. We still lost
Yeah.
to Aston Villa. You
Mm,
know, we still
mm,
lost to Tottenham. So that's
mm.
why I'm saying that they still. It's not. It hasn't been all rosy. Let's not. Let's
Yeah.
not. Let's not sugarcoat it. It
Yeah.
hasn't gone. That's why you can't say it's a 9 or a 10. It hasn't gone and
Mm,
set the world alight. But purely
mm,
because we've won a trophy in 6 months of within 6 months of coming into the club,
mm.
I think he's more than redeemed.
Yeah.
Yeah, redeemed
Yeah.
himself and exceeded expectations based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but then
But yeah.
it makes me think of Emery, man. There was a period last season where Unai Emery went approximately, correct me if I'm wrong, 22 games unbeaten,
Yeah.
and we still walked away with nothing. And Tottenham was on top of us on the log. So, I mean,
Exactly.
um, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. I can only hope that Arteta is indeed the man for the job. I mean, he looks like it, and I'd love for him
Yeah,
to be that guy.
I personally, yeah, I personally think for the where we are right now, he is the right man for the job. It's head scratching,
Yeah.
especially knowing that our coach would ideally want to play a 4-3-3
Mm,
system.
mm,
And you look now and you probably say that one of the main reasons why he doesn't play a 4-3-3 is that just because he doesn't have a number 10
mm,
at all in the squad.
mm, mm.
Besides Mesut Ozil or a number 10 that would be able to give you something in a
Yeah.
4-3-3 system to
Yeah.
provide you with
Yeah.
the creativity in
Yeah.
a 4-3-3. And he doesn't. And he's had to completely change system because of that.
Okay.
And for me, it's one of those where I think there's more behind the scenes than
So,
we are being
so,
told in that one.
so, would you like just to close, because I think we share the same sentiment, and I'm also like,
Yeah, so I think, look, yeah, so I mean, if the guys think that they need to get rid of him, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the club's prerogative
mm, mm.
to make that decision. If it's
If it was
a
your
certain
call,
decision that he doesn't look, I mean, the guy they're not playing him, right? And that's the thing. You can't even say that this guy is playing badly because when is the
yeah.
last time you saw Mesut Ozil play?
Hey, man, it's been a while.
It's not like we've brought him on and he had a clanger against Brighton, a shocker against Southampton, and he played poorly against Tottenham, and we're like, you know what, we're done
Mm,
with this guy. He
mm,
hasn't featured at all.
yeah.
He hasn't featured at all.
But I mean, do you want
So
to see more of him though? Would you want to like?
I would personally, if he's staying and we can't sell him, why would you pay 350 for a guy who's going to be playing Fortnite? You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
for me, I would like.
Okay, here's a rapid fire. Rapid fire. As we're wrapping
Yeah,
up,
sure.
I think after the rapid fire, I think I got like one or two more questions for you, and then
All right, that's cool.
good. All right. So as quickly as you can, right? Your player of the season.
Oh, that's a tough one, eh? Yeah.
As quickly as we can.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Okay. That was the easiest one. Okay.
Like it was a toss up between him and Bert Leno. I think Bert Leno had an amazing season, but anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
me too. I think you are. Okay, no, we'll come back. We'll come back. Okay, most improved player.
Ooh, most improved. Xhaka.
Xhaka. That's a good one. Player that surprised you.
Player that surprised me, Bukayo Saka. Actually, no. Gabriel Martinelli surprised me how
Okay.
good he was. I was really, really surprised at how good that kid
Sign,
was. I
signing
thought
of
he
the
was, yeah.
season.
Ooh, signing of the season. I'll say Tierney.
Tierney.
Karen Tierney, yeah.
Okay. All right. A player who didn't perform to your expectation.
David Luiz. I think.
Ish, these Chelsea spies, but we're gonna
Yeah,
get there. We're gonna get there.
yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of players that played very poor and performed
Yeah.
to my expectations. But I'll give it to him.
Okay.
I'll give it to him. Yeah.
From what you can remember, goal of the season.
Oof. Sheesh. For us, I'd say Lacazette's goal
Against
against
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that didn't deserve to be on the losing. He didn't deserve to be on the losing side
Yeah.
after that
Yeah.
rocket.
He
It was an
he.
absolute rocket. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a banger. Best young player.
Obviously, it's gonna be Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka. Favorite
Yeah.
moment of the season.
Oh man, lifting the FA Cup. That's a no-brainer.
Okay. All right. So now that we've kind of done like a recap on the season, as we close now, going forward, what do you think we need to do to compete for the top four next season?
Man, I'm worried. I'm worried
And
about
and and in the
gear
same
interactions.
breath,
Uh,
let's
we
talk
need to start.
about
Yeah.
transfers.
So what we need to it's obvious what we need to do, man, to strengthen this. I think we need to sign. That's the only way. We need to buy ourselves out of this current predicament we in, and buy smartly. We obviously because we don't have a lot of money, but we need to buy very 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 smartly.
So
And this
the
I think
pur- the
could be a
purchase of
very
William,
very
how do you feel about that?
I'm not over enthusiastic about that purchase. I kind of understand why we've signed him. He's a free. He's not necessarily on very high wages. It's 100 grand, which is not a lot in modern day terms. He can play of multiple positions, so his versatility is a key thing for us. He can play across the front. He can play across the front three. Um, sorry, you can play across the three in midfield rather. So
Mm.
left wing, centre mid. Attacking
So
mid and right wing.
so he's a good
Um,
substitute number
and
10 potentially.
he can play number 10. Look, he hasn't played number 10 in a long time, so I don't really, I mean, he hasn't played 10 since the Shakhtar Donetsk there. He's played
Mm,
10 here and there at
mm,
Chelsea.
mm,
But it's not a position which he occupied frequently. So obviously back in the Shakhtar days, he was a brilliant 10.
mm,
But now I'm not too sure how well he will play that position. But I mean, we've
mm,
got no 10s. At the moment, he's better than what he had at the moment because we've got no one, right?
yeah.
Um, so, but for me, I think it's also just about look for a 31-year-old. I think he's still quite athletic. He's still got a lot to offer. I'm worried about maybe the length of his contract, but maybe that might be due to the fact that we might be looking to get
Sell
some
him
value and
later.
sell him on
Yeah,
after
yeah,
two after
yeah.
2 seasons. Whether we will be able to at the wages that he's currently commanding, I don't know. And we've
Mm,
seen now
mm,
that it's not easy to sell players. Like players these days seem more determined to see out their contracts and run it out. And we've seen a trend with a lot of these Arsenal players
mm,
trying to run down their contracts, and it's been difficult for us to get rid of them when they've passed their best.
mm.
And I think for me, the one thing that's going to be proven is that he's a model professional, and he's going to be a good role model, I think, to a lot of these younger
Yeah,
players,
yeah.
which we've got a lot of youngsters in that squad that might need mentoring. You think of your Gabriel Martinelli, Reece Nelson,
Your
Bukayo
suckers.
Saka.
Mm.
So, and I think maybe he might be responsible for mentoring. I think that trio of youngsters, and also obviously Emil Smith Rowe,
Mm.
he'll be mentoring those trio of youngsters. And then maybe Uba and Laka, if Laka stays, they'll be more, I think, tasked more with also mentoring Eddie Nketiah and Martinelli as well,
Mm.
and Bukhari. So I think that's the thinking around those. It's to plan for the future and mentor the likes of your Joe Willocks,
Mm.
etc. So I think that's maybe where what the thinking what the thinking is that Arteta's got, and obviously he'll probably be a good option off the bench or starting at times, and he can occupy a lot of occupy quite a few positions and provides us that versatility which we seem to lack in that squad. I think probably we've got I think I, which players do we have that are versatile? It's probably Ainsley, Bukayo Saka, and probably William.
Mm.
And especially given the injury record of our team, we need players that can occupy quite a few positions because we do seem to be hit with bouts of injuries
Yeah.
in certain positions. It's just
Yeah.
versatile, and I think it does cover that. But yeah,
So
so
you.
obviously it's not one that sets the worlds alight, but
Mm.
I think it might just be there to do a job short term. But it's not to get to where we want to get. This is not the type of play. These are not the type of signings we should be making. Over a prolonged period of time.
Mm.
It's for me. I think it's more just a
Uh,
stopgap now to try and push us to the next level, and then get back
Arsene
maybe to
Wenger
the
would
Champions
never.
League. What do you mean, Arsene Wenger would never? He signed Peter Cech.
Oh
Please, man.
yeah, he started this.
He started this nonsense. What are
Yeah.
you guys talking about?
Yeah. Um. Yeah, man. Okay. What else did I want to ask you? So, do you think the top four is possible for us? Like, let's say we
No,
get
at
one
the
or two
moment,
more
no.
signings.
With the current squad, no. I think we probably 2 to 3 signings away from it. So if we had to get a Thomas Partey, retain Ceballos, I'd be very, very bullish. And then maybe get another number 10.
Mm,
I'd be very, very bullish about that.
right. Um. Nqobile, thank you so much, man. I really enjoy
Cool, bro.
engaging with you on on
Yeah.
GunaCast and unpacking your perspectives on Arsenal, and you're very insightful. I learned a lot from you, and it's been great. And thank you so much for always being willing to contribute to our YouTube channel. You are appreciated. You are
Mm.
Guna fam. When we say Guna fam, we're talking about you, man. you know.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great initiative you guys have got going there. And I enjoy chatting to you guys,
No,
giving
thank
my
you.
insights. And hopefully, President Wood will be open sometime
Yeah,
in the future, in the near future, and we can go there and
yeah,
enjoy the games like we used to
exactly.
as fellow Punas. Yeah.
BC stands for before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man. Thank you so much. I personally, I hope the subscribers, the viewers of our channel, are also looking forward to your insights in the new season. But even if they're not looking
Mm.
forward to it, it's even me personally. I am. I'm looking forward to hearing
Yeah.
what you have to say. Come Community Shield.
Yeah,
That,
man. I look forward to that
that's the
first
first
big
one we
test of the
got up.
season.
Hey.
First big test of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that game. I'm looking
I'm
forward to
looking.
that game. I'm hopefully we'll make a few good signings going.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two signings going into that game, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get to see some of those. Look forward to seeing Willian in that game. I think he'll probably start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually reckon
We'll
he'll
we'll
probably get
we'll
he'll
see.
get a start in that man.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. Nqobile, thanks so much, my bro.
All right. Cool,
See,
man. Always a pleasure.
no, for real, it
Yeah.
is. Thank you.
Yeah. We can.
See you
Yeah.
soon.
So now, all right, man.